Welcome to Analyst Talk with Jason Elder. It's like coffee with an analyst, or it could be whiskey with an analyst reading a spreadsheet, linking crime events, identifying a series, and getting the latest scoop on association news and training. So please don't be that analyst and join us as we define the law enforcement analysis profession one episode at a time.
How we doing, analyst? Jason Elder here with another IACA update. And with me is Annie Mitchell, VP of Administration. Annie, how we doing?
Hey, I'm just terrific.
Right, hanging in there, busy, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, conference stuff.
All right, well, let's get into it. That's our first topic here is the conference, which is about a month away now.
Yep, it is. And I won't be there, just in case people don't know that.
Yeah,
I have
that's the biggest news of the day right there.
It
right?
is.
It's gonna be a bummer. You're gonna be super missed.
Thank you.
Oh man.
I'm gonna do some crazy video that they're gonna show.
There you go. Yeah, your presence will be felt one way or the other, right?
Yes.
All right. Where do you want to start with the conference?
So as of Friday, and if I have time while we're sitting here, I'll look up where we're at. We are at 710 registrants.
Nice.
That is incredible. We have grown exponentially year to year. Last year we had 750, and that was totally unexpected. So we have 71 international members, and I broke it down, and we have from Mexico right now, I show 25. I believe there may be more than that. There was a sponsorship for them from one of the government agencies within Mexico, so we're real happy about that. Ukraine will be coming back. Right now I show 6 people coming from the Ukraine, and if any of you were at the conference last year, it was amazing, the presentation they did at the general session on something I never thought I'd see is crime analysis during wartime. So I'm very happy to see them coming back. Canada, we have 5. RCMP, we have 11 people coming from the RCMP. The UK, we have 11. We have 1 from Nigeria, which happens to be my mentee, and he's very upset I won't be there this year. And he asked if he'd come stay at my house later.
Oh,
I don't know about that. We have Barbados and Australia coming.
Oh, nice.
So that's pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, and for the listeners here, there's still time to sign up. It's going to be the week of September 16th in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And but time is running out to get that all set up. So we will put a link in the show notes for the conference page where you can get all the information on how to register and how to attend this year's conference.
And let me just add to that, Jason, when you register, you do not have to pay. I mean, with a lot of agencies, including mine, it would take them forever to pay for us. And we allow you to pay up until the day you walk in the door. So if that is holding you back from signing up, I would tell you don't do that. If your agency would give you a check or they say, well, we can't pay for it until such and such a date, that's just fine. A lot of people don't know that, and they don't sign up for that exact reason.
Yes. So if you have a particular issue, there's also some email addresses for any kind of question that you have regarding the conference there. So if you have a particular special situation, I highly recommend reaching out, send out an email saying, this is my situation. Can I get some help?
Thank you. I appreciate that. The keynote is from the UK this year. He was recommended to us by, her name is Kristen Mahoney. She used to be the director of the BJA, and she is now at the University of Chicago Crime Lab, and they run a leadership program there. And she reached out to me because she's been to most of our conferences for the last 10-ish years. And she highly recommended him as a speaker. And so, because we weren't really sure where we were going, so I'm excited about that. Also, did you want me to talk about the luncheon and award ceremony and the cap we had to put on the lunch?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go next, but yeah, you brought it up, so go ahead.
All right. So I know there's been a lot of question and a lot of concern about why we capped the luncheon. We had to cut our budget. We unfortunately suffered a loss last year, so we have to really pay attention to what we're doing with our finances. So we had to cap the lunch. However, you still have a possibility of getting into the luncheon. A lot of times people check the box if they want to go to lunch and they don't show up. If there are vacant seats, and when you go to register, you will be told this. You can be outside. We're going to have a first come, first serve line. Immediately following the luncheon, if you don't get into the luncheon, the award ceremony is right after it. There will be chairs made available for you to come in and be able to sit through that, which we don't want you to miss. Also, we have a general session. It's the FBI's Next Generation System, NGI, Missing Person Services and Deceased Persons Identification. When I saw this come through as a call for presentations, I contacted them because I'm always looking for those applications out there that you may not be aware of, and this is one I was not aware of. We've had VCAP come and talk, and there's a number of analysts that don't know about VCAP. So I said this should be a general session instead of a breakout room, because this is something that all analysts could probably use. I like to know everything out there that's free.
So
Sure.
just a point of clarification, the loss that you're speaking of is to last year's conference.
Yes.
In Dallas, where there was a loss, and that is due to what?
Thank you for asking that. It was due to the fact that we've never had a conference with 750 people. And our average is about 600 people. And now they told you there's 710. Now our average is going to be 700. We were not expecting it, and we didn't anticipate there being that many people. And a number of people added, like the first day of the conference came in. We had a large number of people register at the conference, which you can do. And so with that being said, we had to significantly increase our food and beverage. And that was what took us to a place where we had more costs expended than we initially had anticipated. So we've been cutting back on a number of things this year for this conference. Nothing that's going to affect the conference at all, but there's just small things that we kept going with, and we're paying attention a little closer to how many people and how much money we'll be putting forward in that. So it's unfortunate, but it's something that happened, and we'll get through this.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay.
And I would, just for the listeners, in terms of this luncheon, if you're signed up and you're not going to make it, you're either coming in late or you've changed your mind, no longer want to attend, make sure that you let registration knows that you give up your seat in case somebody does want to take your seat. I will say this luncheon is a little bit near and dear to my heart because I really enjoy the award ceremony. I feel that the award ceremony is really important in terms of the conference. So you have
Absolutely.
the luncheon, you have the speakers, but then afterwards it's time to recognize our fellow IACA members, and there's a lot that goes into that. So I do highly recommend to anyone to go to the luncheon, and also please stay for the awards show, because it's really the opportunity for our fellow analysts to get recognized. Absolutely.
I agree with that 100%. And also the registration desk, when we were talking, I was going to say, that was a good suggestion, like those people that aren't going to go to the luncheon and are going to give up their seat. I think I'll ask the reg desk when people are checking in, and we'll know who these people are. We can tell them that. Mm-hmm. If you end up not going, please tell us, because there's people on a wait list.
Okay, very good. And then is that all for the conference, or was there other stuff that you wanted to add for the conference?
I was just going to throw out a couple of things that I'm looking at on the agenda. I know that we just had a virtual OSINT party. If any of you wanted to get into that and didn't meet a deadline or wasn't able to get in, they will be doing an OSINT party live at the BYOC, Bring Your Own Computer, the computer lab, and that is on the first day. So just pay attention to that. Any of these, and oh wait, I see somebody else here. Oh, there he is. It's you. You're doing Excel.
Yes.
Which are you doing with Charlie?
No. Seth Potts.
Oh, Seth, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Seth Potts. So for those of you who have never been to a conference, there is a bring your own computer lab, which I think is fantastic. And just make sure that you before it starts, get there early, because those computer lab classes, Esri has one, and then the BYOC, make sure you get there early because there's generally a line for those classes. Hands-on is the best way to learn. And then I think that was it. Just make sure, print yourself a copy of the classes and then go over them before you get there, because it's a lot going on when you get there. And sometimes you forget where you were going to go.
And we are looking to have a preview episode on the podcast here. It's similar to what we did last year that just goes over the entire agenda, what to expect, tips for newcomers or things to think about to make sure that those that are attending fully enjoy their stay during that week. So be on the lookout for that in the couple of weeks as we prepare for conference. So,
Okay.
all right. It's also election season. And so up this year is president and treasurer. So any update on that or any things that folks should be thinking about there?
Well, I believe let's see, I'm looking at the voting period here. I think it's closed now, to throw your hat in the ring, but I could be wrong. But I do know that the voting period is September 16th through October 15th. And I'm going to just tell you, please vote. I mean, literally, this is not hard. You do it on the website very quickly. It's kind of sad that we have over 6,800 members. And if we get 400 people that vote, that's a lot. And it shouldn't be that way. It's really important if you're at the conference, go to meet the candidates. I've run a number of times, and even showing up there, it's very small amount. You need to understand this whole process and how important it is to put the right people in office. So I would highly suggest, I'd love to see it go over like 600 voters this year. That's the goal.
Yeah. And for those that may have never voted, you're going to need to log into the IACA website in order to vote when it's voting period. So it's the first day of the conference is also the very first day you can vote. So but there's plenty of opportunity. There's going to be plenty of documentation sent out, plenty of opportunities to click on that link, log in, and place your vote. So I reiterate and second what Annie said in terms of voting. Please vote.
Yes. Thank you, Jason.
Okay. And then, oh, by the way, it does have to be electronic. I was curious if we could do paper ballots too, like the old way. And the bylaws state that you have to do it electronic.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out a way that we could set something up electronically at the conference, not this year, but for future conferences. I think that is important, and give some sort of incentive if you vote at the conference. Maybe you get a button that says I voted.
Oh, there you go. Just keep it simple. Sticker. They do it. And when we do it, we just get a sticker.
That's right. I like it.
But yeah.
Yes.
And just one last thing with elections before we move on. Again, on the podcast, we will be having election coverage where we interview all the candidates. So if you're still trying to make an informed decision, you're looking for more information on the candidates, trying to decide who to vote for, look for our election coverage podcasts to get more information on the candidates when the voting period opens. So, okay. So our last segment that we want to go over is I co-host a show called Cocktails and Crime Analysis with Charlie Giberti and Kassie Langdon. And our last episode, we played Armchair IACA President, in which the three of us, from our vantage point, is just some things that we would like to see in the future with the IACA. We weren't trying to be super critical. It was just some suggestions that we saw as we interact with several members, and we're all involved in teaching and traveling across the country. Again, things that we like to see, and as we move forward as an association. And so, Anna, we had talked, and I wanted to get your reaction, and if there was something that we didn't have quite right, that would give you an opportunity to correct it.
Okay, that's good. First of all, I liked a number of suggestions that you guys had. Unfortunately, I didn't write them all down, but you and I talked about these. One of the things that just came up, and it was discussed about how do people become committee members. Well, we have an opening that is coming up, and we are going to be pushing that out. We aren't going to be appointing someone, and we'll be sending out kind of a job announcement, and you'd have to submit your resume, and then we'll go over all of those things. We haven't gone through all of the details as a board on how we're going to put that out, because it's been a while since we have done that. It is interesting. We have in the past boards, because I've been on past boards, we did send out like here's the job, can you send us your resume? And we had some poor experiences with that. And so it kind of left us a little bit like, well, it's just easier to appoint people that we know can get the job done. But it isn't really the best way to go. In some way it is. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with that process. I think we might ask for references from people that you've worked with at a higher level. So anyway, that is coming up open, so check for it.
Just real quick, I'm sorry on
Sure.
that. Is that for the chair position for that committee?
No, it is
Okay.
not a chair position. It's a committee position.
Okay.
Yeah, committee position. Think that's a good one to ask. So the other thing that came out was there was talking about why does the IACA board pay to go to like the International Association of Chiefs Police Conference, the ESRI conference. Well, about 3 years ago, we did a strategic planning. We had a number of people. It wasn't just the board. We brought in a number of committee members, and we talked about our future, like laying out the future of the IACA that was sustainable through another board if they took this over. One of the things, and this was something that I pushed out there, is we have to spread our influence of what crime analysis is, mostly to not just the sworn, but they're the ones who have the money. They're the ones who bring analysts in or don't bring analysts in. And it has worked very, very well. So at the IACP, which we will be going to in October, obviously the chiefs of police, we have a booth set up. We have like products that analysts should make and those types of things. We receive so many chiefs, lieutenants coming to our booth, and then we immediately engage, introduce ourselves, ask where they're from. Do you have an analyst? Oh, yes, we do. Does she or he belong to the IACA? I don't know. I said, and they go, hold on, I'll call them. And they'll call them. And if they aren't members, then we explain to them, to their chief, this is why they should be a member. The training, the networking, everything. I said, if this is my big thing, if anything else, that directory makes you look amazing to your detectives when I get a call and say, hey, Annie, do you know any people in Denmark? Oh, sure, not a problem, right? We know that's pretty easy, and I talk to them about those types of things. So we have taken on a number of new members, and we also talked to the chiefs about our conference and how much they should come with their analysts or send an analyst, budget for that. So we just go into that. And so at ESRI, I guess we brought in over 100 new members to IACA at the ESRI conference. It's the same type of thing. So that is why we go to those things. They are, for us, financially worth going because we're bringing in revenue that way also, just through memberships. So that was one of the things that I wanted to address. And I understand how that looks. There's a perception, right? You're just going to go on a trip. But I think my knee is bad because of all the walking that I've done through these things. Oh, and we also pick up other vendors when we go. Like we have one of us, or we bring other like committee members, a couple of more committee members with us, and then they go around with the business cards and they talk to different vendors, which by the way, we have 29 exhibitors this year, which is very helpful financially for our conference.
Is that high or low? I mean, is that higher than normal?
We
29?
generally average 25-ish.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so it's a good number. No, we have people that are still calling. Della, she is our exhibitor coordinator, and she's still receiving calls this close. So we're well known. The conference is very well known. They like it. So I think that's good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that you can think of that you and I talked about, other than the forums, because Jason, you and I have been around for a long time. I go,
Yeah.
I don't know, is the listserv better? Because you
Yeah.
get an immediate response.
It is an interesting thought, right? I think
Yes.
people like to just be in their email, respond to that listserv, but at the same time, and I said this for years in the listserv, it seems like we would be answering the same question. It would be a seasonal thing. It would just be like, yes, we just answered that question. It'd be nice to have like more of a forum where you have a repository where you can go search it and here's the
Yep.
answer and then whatnot. But there is that extra step going back to even voting. I think that extra step of just logging on is just keeping people from doing it. So I think that forum is the same thing. That extra step of logging on and navigating to where you need to is just
You're right.
a couple extra steps that aggravate people.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But we don't have Brian Hill anymore answering all of our questions, right? On the list,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. So there's a lot of potential interaction with your fellow members on that.
Yep.
And then I know one of the things that we did talk about on the show was just the regional associations, which I know that's something that's near and dear to your heart because that was that RAC, the Regional Association Committee, is your baby, is your idea and something that you came up with.
It was because I had started as a regional and I was on the board and the president of the California one. And I always thought about, that's another reason that we try and send a board member to each conference. That was something else that came up, like what's the reason for that? Because I always felt before I was so involved with the IACA, I always kind of felt like they're like, IACA is like our umbrella kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And I always felt like we should have somebody there, just like, what is it, when I go to those conferences, what is it you'd like to see from the IACA? It's an opportunity for me to do that and meet people. And I can tell you, I cannot thank the committee enough. I always tell Aaron Wickersham, all I had was an idea, but I knew certain Brian Hill people that would be able to bring it into what Brian Hill envisioned it to be. And they have brought on a large number of new associations. So I don't have the number sitting in front of me. I know we've brought in at least 4 more regional associations that didn't have them at all.
Good.
So, yeah, they do a RAC chat, like you can come in if you wanted to start one, or maybe yours is kind of failing, and then they talk to you about, this is what you need to do. These are the if you want to file for the tax exemption, they help them through the whole process. So I do really like it, and it is my baby, and I'm very happy with what that committee has done with it.
Is there anything else?
And then the other thing that was said on crime analysis and cocktails was that when the vendors shut down on Wednesday, then could we leave up some of what we set up for the vendors booths and have agencies be able to set up their displays?
Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday is just usually like an open area because all the vendors go home on Wednesday. So you still have that space. So it's definitely an opportunity to have something set up just for like a day and a half.
Yeah, like we'd select like so many agencies, and they have quite a bit, like we have 29 booths this year. So you could just put it out there. I think that's a great idea, actually. Yeah. I like that idea. I'm going to throw that in the 2000. I have it on my notes. 2025 conference suggestions.
Well, very good. Is there anything else? I like to always give my guests the last word, Annie. So what's your last word for this episode?
My last word for this episode is the best weapon in your arsenal of analytical tools is your network. If you don't build that network, it's just you against the world.
Good. Thank you so much for your time here, Annie, for these updates. For the listeners, look for the show notes. If you're looking for additional information on anything that we discussed, you can find links to more information on the show notes. Again, thank you, Annie. I know it's a lot of work. I can only imagine being on the IACA board, but I do appreciate all what you and the board do to make this profession and the association better. So thank you.
Thank you, Jason, so much. And everyone, you'll see me on a video. That's it. That's all you get from me for the conference. Enjoy.
Thank you for making it to the end of another episode of Analyst Talk with Jason Elder. You can show your support by sharing this and other episodes found on our website at www.leapodcasts.com. If you have a topic you would like us to cover or have a suggestion for our next guest, please send us an email at leapodcasts@gmail.com. Till next time, analysts, keep talking.